Okay, take again, like this is just to be expected.
Yeah.
Anyway, uh, what were you saying? Oh yeah, tests in the community that she's created in terms of like, um, yes, thank you for
The
that.
live streams and stuff.
Live
Yeah.
streams, guess it, Swiftball,
Yeah.
all of that stuff is just
Yeah. Our bingo cards. Like we just made it a thing. And I think that really helped because we were going really dark in like October and November and we just needed something to revive us.
absolutely.
And then so obviously the tour, we'll recap that later. And then what I just also I didn't think we were gonna get as much Taylor
Mm,
as we did in general of like her redoing the 1989, like going out all the time
yeah,
and being able to see her go out all the time. So that like, and that's the thing. It's like when life gets dark, I hang on a little harder. And I did. I started like little teenage me would be so excited. I started being like, she's out with her friends and like reporting on that.
yeah.
And it's just like fun and stupid to do, but like it just brings me some joy.
It's
So
not
I
that
let it
serious,
happen.
but if you like, again, going back to what we said in the first podcast episode, if you like something and it brings you joy, do more of it.
Yeah.
So,
I was like, I'm gonna keep doing this, and then eventually I was like, Tom, is this how we want? Was this the direction? And she's like, I don't care. Does it make you happy? Sounds good. That's the direction we're going.
there is no rhyme or reason to anything that we do other than just that it makes us
Brings us
happy.
joy. Yeah. And like you'll know if you see us post more often. For me, if you see me post more often, it is simply because my mental health is deteriorating. And I'm like, this is fun.
I only post when my mental health is doing well.
Yeah.
So, and that's not often, which is why I'm not on there often. But it's okay. It's fine. I have lots of things that I want to do in terms of, um, I guess I'll just randomly talk about it. But so I am a dancer, not for long, maybe, perhaps, I don't know, stay tuned. But one of the things that I really liked about the Eras tour, this is such a big tangent, but I really liked her little stage blocking in before Tolerate It. And I think that is so if you practice dance and you are learning Bharatanatyam, you know that that part is so Bharatanatyam coded.
Yeah.
Like telling a story, the sunshine, all of that stuff. You can cut all of this out, by the
I'm
way.
not going to.
Uh, it's just so fun, and I'll talk more about it
Yeah.
once I figure out what I want to do with it. But I really do want to recreate and re-choreograph
Wait, that would be so
the
cool.
beginning of Tolerate It,
Yeah.
but through like a classical
Classical.
dance
Yeah.
lens.
That would be so cool.
Yeah. And
I'm
her
excited for
lyrics
that.
lend themselves so well to storytelling. Like
Yeah.
that's like the main thing of classical dance anyway.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
anyway, just a random thought that I decided to put
A
out
little
there.
insight into 2024. But 2023, so we got to see her more often, all of
Yeah.
that. And then oh my god, albums. We got to talk about, oh god, can't forget
Yeah,
those.
Speak Now,
Speak Now,
1989.
1989. Speak Now is one of our favorites. I mean,
Absolutely.
as they all are, so
They
whatever.
yeah.
So that was really exciting. And then the Taylor Lautner and Tay coming back.
Yeah.
That was really cool. And then we've got 1989. And having Ray at that was so special since that's her favorite album. And just like getting to witness that through her eyes
Mm-hmm.
was really special. And God, those vault songs are
That
just so good.
they really are. And it's so interesting. Red was the first re-recording that I saw in a different light because of you. And then 1989 was the second one that I saw in a different light because of Ray. And
Yeah.
Speak Now was one that I saw in yet another different light because of Lexi and Jill.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then
And
the next
that's
one is going to be Rep, which we get to see through your lens, which I'm so excited for.
I can't wait.
I just want to go so hard for you, like for Rep, just because I know it's going to be so exciting. Like,
Yeah.
me over here, like, should we rent out a whole space and like make sure it's all
Absolutely.
black and like snakes everywhere? Bring out a Karen. Like, I just want to
Yeah.
go stupidly out for
Yeah.
it, which like I don't know for what. Like, it's just going to be us.
No, it's gonna be. I mean, that's exactly it. It's gonna make
It's for us.
so happy that
Yeah.
no, I'm so here for it. Let's just change the wallpaper to like snakes
Yeah. I'm like, should we paint this whole room black? Like,
with like gold accents. No, that That would be so,
That
with
would be so cool.
like the showroom
Wait,
lights.
what a cool backdrop for a podcast.
Okay, we're doing it.
We're doing it. We're painting the walls black. We're in my house, by the
This is
way.
exactly how everything that we do starts out. We'll be like, wait, what if we do this?
Really
Ha ha ha. Hee hee
casual.
hee.
Yeah,
And then we're like, we're doing
overboard. And we all just, we go a little too hard.
it.
But the last little, I mean, 2023 was crazy. Super
Yes.
thankful for all the experiences. Even just on TikTok, like I have a
Yeah.
screenshot of two invisible strings at the beginning of the year and we had 30 followers. And here's the thing, it's been so fun making friends.
Yeah.
Like
That's been the best part.
yeah, all of these people that I would have never met in real life,
Yeah.
or virtually, and like becoming friends with them. And then now we're at like 3,000,
That's
which is
insane.
nuts. I'm like, 3,000 people cared enough about what we said to
To
follow
follow.
us.
Yeah.
That's absolutely nuts. But I just, like we said, we just want this to be a space of like happiness and
Hmm.
joy and like realism a little bit, but
Yeah.
also just inclusivity
Yeah.
because we do come from so many different
We
backgrounds.
have a
But I
lot of
think,
intersecting personality. I mean, personality backgrounds.
yes.
Um,
And I think that that isn't represented a lot in
in
the
the Swift.
Swiftie community.
Yeah.
And that's also why we were like, wait, we should do this. This would be fun.
Yeah.
And speaking about intersectionality, a big thing about 2023 was that Taylor just won Person of the Year,
Yep.
through Times. And I'll let you take it away.
So I guess I'll start with like what I thought when I first saw that
Yeah.
headline come out. Of course, by itself, it's a huge thing. I
Yeah.
understand
I
that.
wasn't surprised
No.
because it's been the year of Taylor, Barbie, and Beyonce.
Yeah.
Like pop culture wise, like it's
Yeah.
been very, Taylor has taken everything by storm. It's been insane. She's broken so many
Yeah.
records. So it wasn't surprising just looking at it from a pop culture standpoint.
Yeah.
It wasn't surprising that Taylor would win the
I
Person
mean,
of the
there was
Year.
no. Yeah.
I didn't think it would really be anyone else.
It was very. I mean, even reading the article. Like reading the article and seeing her growth, obviously it's great. Like as a if she was my friend, please don't make this a parasocial thing, but if she was like, if I thought about her as my friend and I like saw someone in my circle like make that accomplishment, of
Yeah.
course I would be happy for them.
Yeah.
But I think my mind also
Which
immediately went,
is how we feel. We are happy.
yes,
But
yeah,
also,
but also it goes with like you cannot discount the what's actually happening in the world, because as much as Eras Tour, Barbie, Beyond Renaissance, like yes, that is all good for those who were able to go and experience that. It is a huge privilege to be able to see your favorite artists in concert live.
yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. I think everyone should experience it. That was not the case for a lot of people in the world this year, especially now. And you cannot, it was just a very conflicting feeling that I had, that I was like, yes, this is great for her and her career, but also it's weird to ignore what we've seen happen in the news. And a lot of it was compared to the Time cover of the Time magazine cover of, I think it was last year or the year before that, where President,
Yes.
what's it,
Uh,
Zelensky? I don't know if I'm saying that right.
yeah.
He was on the cover,
Yeah.
and so people were like, "Can you read the room a little?" Like,
Yeah. It's definitely, and like, we get it. This sounded like she like interviewed this a few months ago. And there wasn't, everything didn't come to as much light, even
yeah,
though it should have, before October. But it just, it felt weird because it's
yeah.
like it's just wrong. It just
The
felt
timing
wrong.
is was, and I know a lot of people. I've seen the back and forth argument of, well, this people were not as educated about what. By the way, to
Yeah.
be very explicit, we are talking about
Oh
Palestine,
yes. I don't know why we haven't said,
um,
yeah. We're talking about Palestine
um,
and the current genocide that is happening
and the
there.
current genocide that's happening there. Um, all of that, I will be the first to admit, like, I wasn't as enlightened about the whole situation as I have been in the past few months, or like past month or so. Um, and I know people were like, well, she did the interview like before all of this
Yeah.
came to light and everything like that. But also, the editors had the choice to not release that as the main issue, or like maybe they could have
Yeah.
released it as like a separate. I mean, there are many things that could have happened after the fact that might not have happened,
Yeah.
um or like things that could have been handled with more grace, I guess, like just reading the room a little bit and understanding what has come out since. It's a very, I mean, I don't think it's resolved in my brain still, because I'm still
Yeah.
like, I love it, I love it for the her, but
Yes.
also it doesn't feel right, like,
No. Yeah.
and also, this might be a controversial opinion or like a hot take or whatever, but the article seemed very geared. It was very well written. I was telling you this a little bit
Yeah.
earlier. It was very well written. I really liked the writer's style of writing and things like that, but I felt like it was geared towards newer Swifties
Yes.
who hadn't, or like people who hadn't really heard about what had gone down during the rep era and all. I think it was very rep based.
Yeah.
Um,
And it was, and that's the thing. It's like originally when I read the article, I was like, oh, this is really setting up for rep,
yeah,
which I thought was like from a Taylor perspective, but I really actually don't think it was. I think it was written for the new Swifties because so many people were like, wait, what do you mean? Like, what happened with Kim and Kanye? Like,
yeah,
what phone call? What's going on? And as much as it's great that all these new people are joining, and like we said, we are not
there's no
gatekeeping
gatekeeping
fandoms
here.
is so
Yeah,
weird. But like at the same time, there's so many of us that were there throughout all of that it was just like, wait, we know all, like there
yeah.
was nothing in that article that I was like, this is new information.
Yeah, except maybe her telling us about like when she met Travis.
Yes.
But that also like that's great. That also didn't add to why she was Time Person of the Year.
Yes. That's the thing. It didn't really feel like there was anything in there that was like, this is why she's person of the
Yes.
year.
I guess the one thing that I really liked is I love behind the scenes stuff. So when she started talking about how she prepared for the year, I
Yeah.
would have
I've been
wanted,
waiting for that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would have wanted the article to be more about that and creative decisions and all,
Yeah.
just that. But it just, I mean, especially like now that I think about it more and more as time has passed since the article has come out, I'm like, I don't know if that article like really did it, like anything for me.
Yeah. Because if you're going to deem someone a person of the year, it better be for like really amazing, great reasons that are in the article.
Yeah.
And I think that like the fact that people took that article and then started leaving hate comments and Kim, which like that's in Kim's comments, like guys, this happened so long ago.
Yeah.
Taylor has moved on. Kim has moved on. Like everyone has moved on, and like just like bullying celebrities is so weird to me too.
It just, I mean,
But like it just wasn't necessary to rehash.
yeah. I think I also like, I don't know why that came up in the article. I mean, I get it. I understand. I think the whole point of the article was written.
Winnie, there's no one here. Quiet.
Um, I think the article, let me back up. I think the whole point of the article was supposed to highlight Taylor and her achievements.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure why every time it went back to like the whole Kim and Kanye thing or like literally anything other than her achievements, I was like, why are we re talking about this?
Yeah.
And then the whole like dropping snake emojis in Kim's comments. I know some people in TikTok comments were like, yeah, she deserves it, this, that. I'm like, does it,
No.
though, again, time is too short to be bullying people like that.
Yeah. And like it's just the whole like, oh well, she was bullied, so like she deserves to be bullied back. It's like, no, like
Like that's a waste of time.
it's such a waste of energy, especially 6 years later.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And obviously going back to like reading the room and just it, like there are so many journalists and so many people that have brought so much of what is happening in the genocide with Palestine to the forefront
Yeah.
that we were just not even aware of, and like we still, I don't think as society are like fully aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
And to not even mention that or highlight that anywhere just seemed really weird.
Yeah.
Um,
And I understand that their work has not come to light until very recently. So it's like, I'm just saying, like, I've seen some comments talk about how, well, they didn't deserve it because, like, they're not person of the year, they're person of like the last 3 months. And I'm
that's enough. 3 months of a genocide is enough to become person of the year, in my
like, how
personal opinion.
dehumanized do you have to be to, it just doesn't, it's not, I don't know. There's just a lot with what it means to be a Brown Swiftie. And a
Yes.
lot of it has to, I feel like I'm constantly trying to resolve the cognitive dissonance that is knowing that Taylor will not speak up on anything, even though she has promised
To
that
do
she
better.
would.
Yeah. And I do, I don't know if I'm gonna keep this on, but whatever. I do want to talk about briefly about like how people are like, oh, well, like she's not speaking up about this, so clearly like she is pro,
On the other side,
yeah, on the other side, because I think that is a narrative that has like always been said
about
and
her.
about her and been disproven. Like
Yeah.
it was like, oh, she is a Trump supporter because she's not saying anything.
Yeah.
And then she's come out and been like, no, the heck I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
And
With the Biden Harris cookie.
Lordy.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. Anyway,
but also it's going back to there are no ethical billionaires,
absolutely.
and it's going back to having as much power as you do have and not saying anything. I will not excuse that. I cannot excuse it. But at the same, like, period.
Yeah.
But also she's never said anything about anything. So I'm just like, I don't really.
I think I've given up on expecting her to do anything. I Here's the thing, I understand people who say, well, celebrity shouldn't be held to that standard. I get that, but when the celebrity herself has said,
Well,
I will continue to stand up for whatever and amplify voices or all of that stuff, and then you don't do that, I'm like, but why?
then why even bother pretending like you will?
Yeah.
And I think something interesting that you brought up a couple weeks ago was that recognizing that, like, and a lot of TikTok creators point this out, but like celebrities aren't activists, influencers aren't activists,
Mm-hmm.
and like activism deserves its own space because it takes a lot of work and it takes like being knowledgeable
Yeah.
enough to educate. If you're not, you're going to say really dumb stuff that a lot of
And it's
celebrities
going to be
have,
yeah.
and it's going to make it worse. And something that you brought up was remembering that a lot of these people didn't even finish high school, which like that's kind of insane to me because remembering that like so much of what history was and all of that, like I learned in high school and I learned in college, and they didn't have that.
Critical reasoning skills for me were,
College.
college came in clutch for that. And
Not to say these people are stupid, like
yeah.
at all. Not, they aren't. They're very, and they have all of the
Yeah.
resources. So I think that that is why people are like, speak up, say something. But at
Yeah.
the same time,
Remembering that that's the context, like they haven't finished high school, they haven't gone to
if you look
college.
at like the very basic of it,
Yeah.
but once again,
And also, this is not really quickly, if you don't go to college, this does not is not being like, oh, you're unintelligent. That's
yes,
not what this is.
yeah.
I'm just saying, for a lot of people, college or high school or whatever, if accessible, that's where a lot of critical reasoning like gets developed. And if you don't even have that, then that's like,
And so, but see, now talking about it, I'm like, but there's like, obviously they have it because
who?
they're
Oh, the
like,
celebrities.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
I mean, Taylor is a billionaire. She didn't get a billionaire by being stupid.
Yeah.
And like, same with Selena, like, she's almost a billionaire. Like, these people aren't where they're at because they're not smart.
Yeah. But they have
And
the resources to get to that status.
exactly,
So why can't you use those resources to educate
which
yourself?
is like where I struggle with like how I feel. But at the same time, for me personally, I I don't know. It's all weird. It's all, I kind of hate it all.
Yeah, no, there's definitely, I mean, I 2020, what part of the 2023 recap was getting such a big ick from the whole
Ugh,
like,
yeah.
you know, whatever, all the stuff that went down in May, June with Maddie Healy. What do you, I mean, you can't, it's, it's just, I mean, there's been a historic pattern of like
It's just
things
a
like that just, you're like, "Ugh."
it's so disappointing
It is disappointing.
for to
Yeah.
see of someone that you look up to and like think so highly of. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I and like this could very well just me be making excuses. Like
Hmm.
I fully get that. I have been very easily been able not easily, but like it's been very black and white to me. Like I we are there is a genocide happening
Yeah.
and there is one side
Yeah.
that is being so cruelly just cleansed from this world
Yeah.
that deserves so much more. And I, anyone that is not able to cognitively see that, I've been able to just be like, I can't have you in my life. You're blocked. I'm unfollowing you. Like,
Yeah.
we're no longer friends. And so, with that, not to use it as an excuse, but like, I see Bella Hadid and Gigi Hadid as big Palestinian celebrities.
Yeah.
And Bella especially has lost many brand deals. She has lost so much, but continues to be outspoken. And same with Gigi. Like Gigi literally had to hide in Taylor's house because she was being attacked by the media.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was out in her Rhode Island house
Oh, I thought
whenever
that
it,
was because of Bradley Cooper.
yes, but because she was being attacked by the media
That's bad.
and she was being sent death threats and a bunch of stuff. And so that's why she was hiding out in the Rhode Island house. And with that, it's like
Yeah.
if I was Gigi and my friend wasn't understanding of like my Palestinian history, like it's just so personal on that level.
Yeah.
And like you see Gigi out with Taylor even now, like she was at her 34th birthday, they went out to
Yeah.
dinner, they're seemingly still just as close. Like I refuse to believe there have not been conversations had on that
Yeah.
with how deeply it has affected. And like and I don't know if that's the like, oh, like she's had to have done something.
Yeah.
But like I there has to have been something that's happened.
Yeah. I think it's also, I think, really hard for people who don't have any ties to any kind of history that's adjacent to what we're seeing right now.
Yeah.
Um because I understand, like, I think it's easy. I don't want to say it's easier for us to understand because we've had some sort of thing that's happened to our ancestors in the past. But I think we definitely have a more understanding perspective of when things like this happen. And I can imagine if you don't have any kind of like
Yeah.
connection to that, it is very hard to understand and wrap your mind around because how, I mean, the
What? Like
concept of genocide is disgusting.
yeah.
And it has been taught to us as, I mean, history repeats itself, but it doesn't need to.
Yeah.
And
It's the whole
not
like never again means never again for
everybody,
everybody.
yeah. And not being able to understand that, if I, again, if I was Gigi Hadid too, like, I would not continue that friendship. I
No.
don't care how.
It doesn't, and that's the thing, right? Like even Blake Lively, like this is our like she is just as genuine as she is like in like as you see in my
Yeah.
life. And like it's seeing those things over and over again and being told this narrative of like who Taylor is as a person by her friends.
Yeah.
And like I just I cannot see that friendship continuing because this is quite literally a cleansing of your people. And
Yeah.
if someone else was on the other side, I would not be able to be friends with them. And based on how much Bella and Gigi, like they're sisters, they're close,
Yeah.
have talked about it, I just like I just don't get it.
I just, yeah. And I understand that wanting to learn and have these conversations in your own time, in your own space, like, I get that because it's very daunting to have these conversations on a public, like,
Yeah.
especially if you don't know it and you're trying to educate yourself, doing that publicly, I'm sure is hard. And doing that publicly as a celebrity with the status that Taylor has,
Yeah.
I'm sure is even harder. So I get that. But yeah, I cannot see them not having the like, why, I don't know. I
Yeah.
just, you can't,
like we have it so often in our own lives. Like I just can't imagine it not happening. But either way, like I still think that personally, I think that just disappointed. And I think that's okay. That doesn't mean I'm not going to sit here and not talk about Taylor Swift or not listen to Taylor Swift,
Yeah.
because to me it just means something different.
Yeah.
And what I have been doing everything that I can be doing
Yeah.
to help the people in Palestine. And like moving forward, it's just going to be interesting to see what happens with that.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, I kind of learned this with the Maddie Healy era. I faulted myself for listening to Taylor's
Yeah.
music during that time because I thought that by me doing that, I was directly supporting Maddie Healy, and then I was unvalidating
Yes.
my relationship with her music and her art. But after a while, I think I realized like that's not fair to me. Like,
Our
it is not
history.
just a, oh my gosh, like let me turn this song on to
Yeah.
like,
It's like
for my
therapy. It's
drive.
a,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's it goes much deeper than that, and to not give myself that is unfair to me.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, if Taylor was to come out and be like, whatever, say something outrageous, I'd be like, no.
And that's the thing. That's what I thought about,
Yeah.
right? Like it's like if for some reason something came out and she was pro the other side, I I would have a very hard, it would be a devastating breakup. I would have a very,
Yeah.
not hard, but a very sad letting go. But as I have learned from just being a fan for like 17 plus years now,
Mhm.
it's she just doesn't say anything, and at the end of it, she is just a rich white woman, and that could do a lot of work and is
Yes.
surrounded by white people that could do a lot of work in the intersectionality space,
Yeah.
and learning about different intersections and what that means for her fans and for her community.
Yeah, because white feminism is, I mean, there's many creators on TikTok who have pointed out that like white feminism is her brand.
Yes.
And I understand, like, white feminism has its space too, but like
Yeah.
that's not the space that most of us operate in.
No.
And it shouldn't be because there's more people than white people.
Yeah.
So it you have to think about other people's experiences as well. And that's not something that I'm gonna get from Taylor in a
Yeah.
maybe, but I mean, I hope
But also,
there's
I'm not sitting here listening to white women to get my education on
yeah,
intersectionality. So, like,
no,
why would I listen to Taylor on that, you know?
no.
And I think that that's very an important part of it. I just,
There are other books that there are other books that you can read by wonderful authors who
yeah,
have many intersecting backgrounds, and they have a much better platform to talk about that. Go lift their voices and
yeah.
amplify their voices
And we could go on about this. Like, we talk about this in our daily lives every day,
all the time
all the time. We talk about it constantly, and like how we're feeling and like what it means for
because it is
us.
such a back and forth thing. Like,
Yes.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
just how life is.
That is how life is. We are, to be very clear, free Palestine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, in case anyone was confused, but we did just want to bring it up because it is
Yeah,
something that a lot of people are talking about and are like, oh well, like obviously you don't care. We care deeply. We are
yeah.
both very empathetic people,
Almost
too
too
deeply.
much to
We are in
where
therapy to figure out how to navigate.
those big feelings.
Yeah,
I've
and
Yeah, my mental health takes a toll every time.
every time,
Every time I cannot do it. I cannot live in this world and
yeah,
see and be okay with everything that's happening, because if if you twist people's words and you just don't see the truth, like, I don't know what to say to you. Do
yeah.
better.
Just do better.
It's not that
Um,
hard. Just read whatever. Anyway, it's fine. I can't go down this path.
it's a
I
lot.
will just be mad. I will just be angry.
Yeah, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of sadness, there's a lot of frustration,
Yeah.
and just a lot of grief with everything as well. And It is a hard journey, but that is what we're here for. We are also not perfect. We
No.
also don't know everything. We are constantly learning. And I think that that is why we are also here, because we're just two brown girlies trying to survive and live in this world.
And
Um,
just kind of get through it.
yeah,
And sometimes that means listening to This Is Me Trying.
yes, over and over again. But that's the last episode of 2023.
Oh, we ended kind of on a heavy note.
Yeah, but I'm excited for 2024. I think it's going to be a good year.
Yes.
Um, as every year is, it's going to be hard, it's going to be good, it's going to be low, it's going to be high. But
And everything in between.
we've got some exciting news for 2024, and we'll reveal it in the next one though. So, a little teaser. Um, but I'm very excited because
Mm-hmm.
it's just really exciting watching your friends win and get to live the life that they've always dreamed of. So, anywho, I hope that you'll have a great rest of your year,
Yeah.
and we'll see you back here in 2024.
Whoop, whoop.
Bye. Okay, so here's what I think we should do.
Yes.
I think this is it.